Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Modern Warzone Weekly, your number one source for every week getting all the Warzone news that you could ever need, as well as anything you really could need to know about Call of Duty. I'm Dagnabbit from Modern Warzone, and I'm once again joined by GrandmasterGojj, my prestigious co-host. He's been doing the damn thing. He actually just won a competition for shoutcasting, won himself $3,000 and a chance to cast a prestigious event.
That's
How you
true.
doing, Gojj?
I'm doing good, man. I wasn't gonna talk about that until the end, but I appreciate the gas and yeah, that contest was really cool. I was glad I was able to participate. I'm sure I'll talk more about it at the end of the day. But we've got more important topics besides our personal successes. We've got to talk about Vanguard, and of course, the Vanguard reveal, or I guess the inaugural event reveal last night that involved some insane names, some insane performers. I mean, Doug, I know you were able to watch all of it, and you've played a lot of Vanguard, so I'm going to be catering to you a lot today to talk about each of these topics. But can we just have like an initial reaction to this event? Like, we don't have to give it a 1 to 10 rating, but I mean, come on, T-Pain, like it was comedy, just pure unadulterated comedy.
Yeah, unadulterated is the right word. T-Pain was off the lick, and he was doing his thing. Really, in the beginning, it was a lot more calm, and seemed a lot more, everything was within bounds. And then it kind of like there was like a lot of lolly moments and did moments. Like at one point, the servers actually crashed for anybody that was playing Vanguard at the time. It crashed for me too. I wasn't like able to stream it, but it crashed on everybody. T-Pain was like stuck on stage filling, and he filled for probably like a grand total of like an hour tonight.
That's crazy.
I feel like. And he was with every different fill section he did, it got a little bit crazier every time. And then he ended it with the strongest phrase of them all. If we could pull that up to where people could actually hear it. Have you seen that?
You ready to get the clip up? Yeah. Let's get the clip up. Let's talk about. I mean, there was a lot of different performers there, right? Like there was Migos. They had
Lil TK.
Yeah, there was so many people that were performing. And honestly, what I want to see, who tweeted out the crowd reaction? Wasn't it Hunter TV that tweeted out the crowd while they were singing? And it was like nobody was moving. Oh my gosh.
I don't want to like sound like I'm hating on anybody that was there, but they got a free front row seat to a concert for the Migos. And the Migos were they performed like 10 to 15 of their best songs. They were in there killing it. Yeah, look at it. Everybody's just standing there.
You can only see a little bit, but you see this one dude, he's like looking hip, he's kind of moving about, but most people are just kind of watching. I mean, my question is, the people that were actually there, do they even listen to this type of music, I guess, is the question of the hour. These are some really cool pictures from people that were there that I'm pulling up on screen. But
if you go outside at all, or go to bars or go do anything that's like party scene in like mid-20s, you definitely have heard Migos. You know their music.
I don't know.
There's no avoiding it.
I was so confused by the crowd reaction. That was the biggest thing, and I was just like, wow, nobody's even like kind of getting hype about it. And I guess it's just like people weren't expecting it, or I don't know what it was. But let's see if I can pull up who tweeted out the T-Pain final statement. Jake. I mean, a lot of people did, but
I tweeted it out.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
Let me pull up the video.
Back on mine.
I'll scroll back through and find it, but we can keep talking about it. I mean, what were some of your favorite parts from the event last night?
Watching Lil Jon not be able to use both his thumbs at the same time.
We gotta pull up that clip too. Oh my
Lil Jon, and then there's Scump, and the entire Optic crew is live reacting to him, and they're like, "This can't be real." And to me, it was really funny, because there are so many other people who play video games as casually as Lil Jon who still like to play. And everybody hates SBMM, but those people like that need a protected bracket, bro. He was getting roasted out there.
Okay, so here's the final video of kind of T-Pain's outro speech. I'll turn up the volume so make sure we can all hear it.
Oh God.
Preload, pre-com. Yo, that's all I got for you tonight.
Oh my God.
Peace, love, and may you have three balls in the morning. I'll appreciate y'all, baby.
Pre-order, preload, pre-cum.
What?
I love y'all. Peace and love.
He
Hope
said-
everybody wakes up with a third nut. Like, what the fuck is going on?
Oh my gosh, it was so funny. I saw that video last night, and because I wasn't in the actual event at the end of it when he did that, and I was just so confused because I just hadn't been following the storyline of like T-Pain basically getting lit all night and then saying that kind of stuff. Oh man, it was so funny. But overall,
At one point,
oh, go ahead.
He did make a joke at one point about going to the Dominican Republic because prostitution's legal there. I know that one had a lot of people like, oh, that's a terrible look for Call of Duty and this, that, and the other. I'm just thinking of like T-Pain, or trying to think of like as an entertainer and a very famous rapper who's always, been able to say how he feels about things. And he's up there hosting an event, and it's kind of like, dead in certain sections. Like, clearly there's not a lot of crowd hype. He's trying to generate some energy. And as the liquor starts flowing, he just keeps getting worse and worse when it comes to like keeping it brand professional.
Yeah,
but at the same time, like, Call of Duty is a rated 18 plus video game. We deal with war crimes. We drop white phosphorus on people. That's completely illegal in Geneva Conventions. There's so many things like it. I understand. And also, there was nothing censored about the event. You heard the N-word said probably about 50 to 100 times. Doesn't bother me at all. Saw some people on the timeline that were very shocked about it, and I was like, just thinking to myself, like, this is happening late at night. It's in LA. You got famous rappers mixed with athletes, mixed with Call of Duty pros. There's free. T-Pain said it himself, the liquor was free. There's gonna be some wild things happening.
Yeah, and for those rappers too, like, that's normal for their vernacular, and that's normal for their rap songs and things like that. And so they weren't going to be brought in as like a censored versions of themselves. Like, there's no way that was going to work, even if they tried to do that. So I'm sure it was just Call of Duty saying, yeah, let's bring in these people and they're going to do their own concert. It's not going to reflect that on us, which I think I totally agree. I think it was a very, very small, maybe vocal, but small minority of people that were actually thinking that was a negative thing. Overall reaction was really positive. I'm going to pull up the Little John
oh my god,
I've got
bro.
this clip. There's so many clips of him playing, but all of them were bad.
And he's got his sunglasses. Imagine if he had his sunglasses off and you got to look and see what his eyes were really doing.
Look at all the wind, Maven.
Them things are probably looking two different directions, bro.
The commentators were talking about the wind in the game.
Well, this one,
I know, because that's the only thing you can talk about. He's not moving. Watch it. He just randomly starts shooting. You can just look at his face when he shoot. He doing the whole leaning and moving and shit. Look at him.
Dude,
Look like a.
I know for our audio listeners, like on our actual podcast, they're like, "What the heck are you doing?" Just we'll link all this in the show notes. Just go down and I'll link the video for it, because his aim and the way he's looking around. I mean, he's obviously had a few drinks, but also just completely uncomfortable on the sticks. I think he even made a tweet that was basically like, I'm a drinker, not a player, or something like that. I don't remember what he said.
CDL Intel's video of Scump and them live reacting to this, and they were like so shocked at him shooting the ground and stuff right there.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm a drinker, not a gamer.
It's so good. Overall, though, this is what I was gonna say earlier. I feel like everybody's reaction was positive. Like, am I wrong? I mean, for the most part, like, everybody was like, okay, this is a little interesting. Obviously, there were some issues, and like, the servers crashing, and like, I think there was a lot of people that were like, this is kind of a little whack. But overall, I felt like it was a fairly positive reaction. Like, we would rather have this, even if it's a little bit shocked, than something a little bit more. What will I call not PC, but a little bit more soft, like a little bit more like trying to cater to the general public rather than just like Call of Duty mainstream. I don't know how to say that best, but
I loved it, and I think you'll start to see more video games do it. Like, to be honest, it had great viewership numbers throughout all of their different platforms they were doing it on. Everybody was watching it as a watch party. I can't believe it wasn't like virally trending on Twitter with the way T-Pain was acting. It was hilarious. And not only that, but like you said, like, there wasn't really bad reactions. We had Courage playing the campaign mission with the orchestra, a live orchestra.
Oh yeah,
him.
I saw that.
And that was, that's pretty cool, man. And I think that they really went through a good thought process of how to do this, and it was pretty well produced in my opinion. They did have a hiccup where that game crashed, and they just moved on to the next game. It was the entire servers crashed for a second. Just let me make that clear, because I was sitting there on my PlayStation menu, not streaming, and it blue screened my PlayStation. I was like, what? And yeah, but everything was good up until everybody's waiting on this whole Warzone Pacific reveal. I mean, Maven leaked it off his jacket before we got anything else. And the real thing was that everybody was roasting the Warzone Pacific reveal because it was probably like 20 to 30 seconds. It was mainly planes dogfighting.
Yep.
We probably really got to see about 4 to 5 seconds of the map that we hadn't seen yet. And really, the best intel we got about Warzone Pacific from the whole thing, besides the cutscene that showed that Butcher is under the map. I'm not going to get all into the lore stuff about it. Y'all know I do that all the time. But it was it didn't really bother me, but I saw other people on the timeline. That was the only negative reaction I saw, those two events. And but then later we had one of the people who actually, I forget who it was, that posted a picture, like a high quality image of the inside of that jacket.
Yeah.
And that's circulating on Twitter if you want to pull that up. That's on my Twitter as well. It's a very high quality image, and we can go ahead and that's a good way to move into this topic. We'll talk about the Warzone Pacific map and what we learned about it real quick.
Yeah, let's just jump straight into it. I was going to save it for later, but I think this will be a good time to talk about it because it kind of came up during the event. So I'll pull up your tweet about it. And like, I think, somebody said this a second ago, you said it, and then there were other people in the timeline. Like, the biggest issue people had with the reveal was that it like wasn't actually a reveal, right? It was a Vanguard event and it wasn't a Warzone event. And they obviously didn't really show us hardly anything. Of course, we got the map, but that's it, right? Which is like, but that's not a bad thing necessarily. Here's the high quality image on the stream now. If you're on the YouTube, I've got it pulled up. You guys can kind of take a look at it. And you can see a lot of the different POIs. So, like, let's talk through some of these, Doug. Obviously, this is what the map's going to look like. I mean, some of the things that we learned based on what I can tell is that a lot of people were considering or thinking that they were going to bring in, like, a swimming mechanic at some point during the Pacific map because there was so much water. And this map is showing it is a land map, probably won't have swimming.
Yeah, it definitely looks that way. You don't really see any connecting bodies of water. I would like to note, I saw people like trying to make fun of it, like, oh, when did it get like brown? When did it turn into a desert? Where's all the veg? This is a topography map.
Yeah.
It's showing you the lay of the land. It's not showing you. It's not like a Google Earth image. But I'm just gonna read through some of the POIs real quick. At the very bottom of the map is city capital, and from what I've heard and what I've been told, or that I've just seen floating around, is that that's going to be a hot drop locale.
Yeah.
It's going to be one of the bigger POIs. It's going to have the most loot, blah, 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 blah. We have Taro Farms. We have submarine base. We have beach defenses. We have a fishing village. We have ancient structures. We have naval shipyard, the ore processing docks, the volcano, which is the mountain in the middle of the map, the phosphor mines, airport, and that's all the ones listed on here thus far. And this is all from a jacket.
Yeah, you did the submarine base and the beach defense on the right side, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so I think the interesting point, like I was talking about this earlier too on my stream, was like the city capital being the hot drop. I mean, this is like akin to like Tilted Towers or like Fragment West or from Apex and Fortnite or like whatever, right? Or like military base in PUBG. Like, this is what people are thinking city capital could be. But you also got to remember, I mean, I feel like what people were thinking downtown would be like, right? And downtown, although not the slowest of drops, is definitely not the hottest drop in the game. Maybe it was at the beginning of Warzone, I can't really remember, but there's just too many levels to where it's so large and so many levels that it isn't as like hot of a drop as something like Hospital is currently, or even Superstore back in Superstore's heyday. So I'll be curious to see what people actually start catering towards in terms of drop locations, but I can only imagine City Capital has some of the highest tier loot, if that makes sense.
Yeah, after having a minute to like actually take a second and like look at the map, you'll notice something that's different about this map and very different from Verdansk. They're supposed to be about the same size to scale, but Verdansk has POIs that are mainly littered in the middle of the map, like straight up. Everything is in the middle. This map is actually, most of the POIs are on the outside. There's only 2 or 3 in the middle leading up to the volcano. So what we'll probably see more of on this map is a lot more people landing outside of on the outer edges of the circles, and then moving in like a normal BR kind of, like to where you don't have to think about every other building, but you're moving with the zone and slowly getting to like the middle of the map or wherever it's trying to put you. And I've seen people worried about it just because the middle of the map is the high ground. But I think that that's a good trade-off. If you go there early game, you're not going to have the most loot. You're going to have to sit there for a while. But if you end up coming up late game, you're going to be much more looted. You're going to have way more kills. You're going to have a lot more chance to get feeds and stuff. I mean, we've seen pictures of the top of the mountain. It does have good sight lines, but it's not like it's just a sniper's perch and you can just rain hell on everyone. There's vegetation everywhere.
Yeah, it seems to be like more vegetation even than Verdansk, at least in some parts. But my thing that I'm curious about, of course, they showed in the gameplay trailer, which we're not going to show on screen right now, but because there's a lot of like campaign dialogue and all that good stuff, we'll link it down below so you can go check it out if you're an audio listener, and I'm sure you've seen it if you're watching this live. But it wasn't much of a reveal, like Doug said. They did showcase, hey, planes certainly a main priority, and dogfighting is a real thing. So of course, like, this sounds absurd of like, oh, there's planes and dogfighting. It's similar to, like, think helicopters where you have people in the side shooting, except the planes themselves can actually shoot. So the question will be, how do they balance that? How will that look? What's that going to look like in planes shooting on people? Are they even going to have sight lines through trees to shoot at people well?
How many people can be in a plane?
Exactly. And if it's a solo riding plane or a duo riding plane, that's certainly not going to be like a huge advantage necessarily for like quads playlists. Like, there's a lot of question marks that come up with planes, and I've seen a very mixed bag reaction to that. What are your kind of thoughts on the planes, Doug?
It really depends on how they're implemented, because everything that they're mentioning right now is like, basically, it's like anytime they talk about the planes, they talk about the Vanguard exclusive playlist where it's supposed to be like only Vanguard guns and then the dogfighting. I haven't really seen them mention it when it comes to all of the different clashes of different Warzone elements coming together at once. I would expect there to still be planes, but I don't know. I do know that this map right here does confirm our time period for the map, or at least I believe it does. 1941.
Sure. Yeah. No, I think that makes the most sense. It'll be really curious to see how planes are implemented. I don't know. Maybe their bullets do more damage to vehicles and like don't necessarily just melt you down if you're on the ground. I don't know. There's a lot of concern. The other question mark I had that wasn't showcased in the reveal at all, so still a huge question mark. There was always this kind of lingering conversation, whether or not it was confirmed or not is up for debate, and most people saying it's not going to happen, where that boats were going to be involved in Vanguard. And not that we have gotten any more information, but I will say, of course, you have a naval shipyard, so that could be a case to be made that there'll be boats, but of course that's not necessarily the case. But I will say, with all of our major POIs being around the edge of the map, I could see a huge case to be made for there to be boats.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you could take a boat and rotate around the outside of the map to different POIs. You know what I mean? Like, you could go up to Naval Shipyard, and if there's a boat up there, then you take that down to like the fishing village on the left side of the map, or all the way around to City Capital and come in and flank from behind. You'd obviously have to take your boats pretty dang early based on the zone. But I don't know why that wouldn't be the case, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't either. I do know one thing. I have to use the bathroom so bad. Be right back. Hold it. I was doing the pee-pee dance, bro.
Okay. You just went like 2 seconds ago. All right, well, anyways, chat, look, I'm curious to see, what do you guys think? Do you guys think there will be boats as well as planes? And then the real question is, how powerful will planes be? I can't see 1940s planes taking more than 2 passengers, which could be a limiting factor for how valuable they actually are. And if that's the case, then you're gonna have to stack up double planes for quads. But for it also could be a thing like they have in solos right now, where there's no helicopters in Verdansk for solos, that maybe you can't use a plane if you're in duos or solos playlists, in particular probably solos playlists, where you can't use planes. So I don't know. It's a good question, and I'll be curious to see what you guys think, as well as what's actually revealed. Also, I think your Twitter space is really loud, Doug, because I could hear it.
That was my headphones, so
okay, cool.
When they weren't on my head, it was really loud. Yeah. I definitely don't know exactly how to feel about the planes, just because, like you said, there's so many unknowns. Like, how many people are going to be able to be in them? Are they going to be mainly the way they were described in that blog? That I'm not sure if, I think that was what you missed. We talked about that in depth. They were described as precision airstrikes, like their ability to like be offensive.
The planes?
And that's scary. Yes, I swear that was the wording used. A drivable precision airstrike. We that was like our 6-hour thing we did last week, and I couldn't believe that when I read it. That's when I started getting a bit concerned.
Yeah.
Because we don't know how much damage the bullets are gonna do. And really, if you've ever like tried to fly a plane in any type of setting like this, like in a video game, it's really hard to get kills because you have to do like strafe runs. You have to come in and try to hit them and then do a turnaround and all that. So I really don't know. We just have to wait and see. But they're clearly putting a lot of impetus on the fact that there's going to be dogfighting. They mention it nonstop. They've showed it in almost every single thing. I'm really not sure about it yet, but I do know something that we could mention right here is that in Warzone right now, we're going to talk about some of the other crazy things happening in Warzone right now. But if you go in one of the red rooms and you pick the right door, when you're going through like the number sequence and all the red things flashing at you and coming at you right in your face, there are 3 separate scenes now that show for like 2 seconds, I think. They show the Caldera Warzone Pacific map, like different sections of it. Like one of them looks like it's going through the temple. Yeah. The other one looks like it's going through like just a little like a hilltop, like jungle looking area. And the other one is by some water, I believe. But yeah, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in the Warzone right now that we're going to talk about in just a second.
Yeah, and I think we should definitely talk about the changes in Warzone and some of the playlist updates for the next couple of weeks. Because again, this map that we were showing on screen, Caldera, is not going to be implemented into Warzone. Vanguard is not going to be implemented into Warzone until December 3rd. So we still have a full month of normal Warzone, and just Vanguard multiplayer is going to be out for a little while. But it's a good opportunity for you to level your guns. So let's talk about Vanguard for a while before we kind of jump into the playlist updates and all of that stuff. We can kind of finish the stream with that, or the episode with that. Let's talk about Vanguard, because number one, I've been able to watch quite a bit of gameplay. Doug, you've been able to play a ton on your PS. What do you play on PS4 and Xbox?
Yeah,
you've been
PS4 Pro, and now I'm on the Xbox One X.
There you go. So you've been able to kind of grind it out. So let's get number one. Let's get your initial reactions. Let's then compare it to the beta. What has changed? What hasn't changed? And kind of the state of the game currently with its initial release. Because I haven't had a chance to play it at all. I only have PC. I don't have any of the other consoles to jump in on early. So hit me with it, Doug. What are your initial reactions?
My initial reactions, I'm going to go ahead and say I haven't put enough time to give my true opinion on the zombies mode, but I do know that most of the community considers it to be lackluster right now. They want the round-based map. They don't think this is it. Just going off of, even if they're a vocal minority, that's the majority of that minority's opinion.
Okay.
Campaign, I just got started on campaign. I'm about an hour and a half in. I'm on like mission 3. No spoilers. I'm not going to give any spoilers here. I'm enjoying it. I will say that if you're going to play the campaign, I would do it as soon as you get the game before you go into multiplayer, because multiplayer on every single platform has a FOV slider. And most people, I mean, I'm playing on 120 FOV when I'm playing, which, by the way, is running great on these are old consoles that I've been playing on. And in the beta, they did not work well at all. Like, it was bad. But they've been doing great. I kind of lost my train of thought right there. I was talking about the single player campaign.
You're saying you want to do campaign first because you can't change your FOV in campaign, right?
Yeah, you can't change your FOV in campaign. And this, I usually am not one to actually like care about this stuff or complain about it, because the FOV is lowered to give you more cinematic value. But it is jarring to go down by a whole 40 FOV after coming from the multiplayer side of things. So I recommend doing that first, just so that you don't feel like, have a negative opinion of the campaign as soon as you realize, like, why is this so zoomed in? Because it's going to feel weird.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Multiplayer wise, though, I've been playing like quite a lot. I played on the first account and got it to level 27. I couldn't get that linked to my Activision account, and then I finally got one linked to my Activision account. I've been playing on my own one finally. I think I'm like level 11 or something now, because I've been playing campaign and tweeting and all that stuff. I played a majority of the maps, I would say, but I haven't gotten to experience all 16 of the non-Champions Hill 6v6 type maps. I will say that there are some absolute gems in there. Absolute gems that are not remakes or remasters, that are new.
That's cool.
And that are good. There's all different types of maps. Most of them are designed with the thought process of 3-lane clearly at their core. You can feel it as you're playing it. It's just 3 lanes. Sometimes there will be different avenues throughout those 3 lanes to cut across sides with cover, and that's fine. But there's no real like Modern Warfare issue where, except for on like a few maps, but there's always going to be a few bad ones. This one has the most maps that I've enjoyed off of the first couple playthroughs in any COD that I've like started on launch day. I hadn't really had a bad experience except for on one map, and that was last night when I was playing, right, there's only probably about 30 people on our servers. I spent the entire night playing against Sledgehammer developers, Raven software developers, and then Nuke Squad and Swag ended up in our lobbies for like a solid hour and a half straight because there was just no other lobbies to find. I can't really give an opinion on Vanguard or on SBMM yet. What
Sure.
I can tell you is that if SBMM was cranked the fuck up, I would be playing against people like that, and I was still having a great time playing against them. Like, I bring it. That's what we were saying in our group last night. We would like to play a more competitive game like that against people we know are good.
Right.
Movement feels very much so improved. I just don't think I can comment on SBMM yet. There's a ton of weapons. Gaining weapon XP does not feel bad at all. There's a new challenge system. One of the coolest things I wanted to talk about, and that probably hasn't gotten enough attention for how, like, I think it's going to be a great system. The new clan system. So they've replaced the regiment system from Warzone. And if you still had a regiment, whenever they removed the ability to join or leave one, it will transfer over to Vanguard. But if you have over 100 members, it will only allow you to have 100 transfer over. So some are going to get kicked out.
Gotcha.
I think it chooses it by who's most active. I'm not 100% sure. But you can have up to 100 members in your clan. Each clan is unique, so you can only have one. Like my clan name, I secured it as soon as I got in, is Modern Warzone. MWZ is my clan tag. Nobody else can have that. So if you get on the game and you want to have like, oh, we have this great name, we don't want anybody to take our name, make sure you make a clan as soon as it's available to you. The best parts about the clan is that you and your team work together to level your clan up through 20 different levels that unlock you different frames. And anytime that you play with your team, with any of your clanmates, you get plus 10% XP for everything, like your weapon, your
That's
operator, your regular XP. The clan aspect seems really cool to me. Another cool thing about the clans is that the clan leader is allowed to make a customized emblem, and you have 30 different foregrounds and 30 different backgrounds to choose. So this isn't World at War level of make your own emblem to where you could draw swastikas and stuff. Like, they're not going to allow that to happen ever again. We ruined that. People are like, why can't we have that? Well, we ruined it. There was so many terrible things I saw when I was younger on those games. But now you have 30 foregrounds, 30 backgrounds, and you can change the size or shape of them, I believe, or the way that they're positioned, as well as the colors. So 63 different colors, I believe, for each one. You can actually make some cool combos, and you can also randomize the customized emblem thing. The last thing about the clans that was really cool to me is the way you set them up. So you can use a 255-letter description to describe your clan after you've named it and everything. You can choose whether people can request to join, or whether they're invite only, or whether your clan is just open to be joined for anybody. And the real cool thing to me is that when you make your clan, you have to choose 3 different categories that you want your clan to be. It's like tags on YouTube. So mine for Modern Warzone is like active daily, competitive, Warzone. And then like somebody else who plays zombies competitively would be like zombies competitive or casual. Like, they have all those different categories of what you want to do, whether or not you have a mic, don't have a mic. And this is on top of the Warzone system that was just recently added, that is its own looking for group system. So I think that they're really building upon that, and I think this is a good way to do it. You can search for different clans also based off of those titles. So, and you can also search for a clan by name or by their clan tag. Like, there's no clan leaderboard yet that I've seen, but you can go in and find clans. Like, I went in and did the 3 tags that I just mentioned, active, daily, competitive, and Warzone, and mine popped right up.
That's cool. Along with other ones that were like tagged similarly. But yeah, it's super interesting. I think that kind of is akin to like other clan, company, faction systems that we've seen in other games. I mean, I think back to like Destiny, it's kind of some similarities there. I mean, even New World has similarities there with building out your company's, flag and all of that good stuff. So I like that idea. It kind of grabs a little bit more attention than Regiments did from Modern Warfare. I mean, Regiments basically didn't mean anything besides a easier way to invite
your
people.
Hour. You got that 1 hour, and you could be in like 17 different regiments, so you could use that hour throughout your entire day.
Yep.
But the thing with this is you can only be in one clan at a time. Every single clan is unique. It's a lot different, and they did limit the number, so it's only 100 now, not 250. They cut it back by 150, but now there's goals for you to do. Like, there wasn't any regiment XP that you and your regiment were pushing for. You just like that little gold clan tag next to your name.
Yep.
Well, now you're actually working together towards goals. As you complete those goals, not only will you get borders for doing said goals, but you also will get exclusive calling cards. And I thought this was cool, that if you ever leave the clan and you're not active in that clan, you can't use them. They're gone.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So you have to be active in the clan that has unlocked those to use them.
That's pretty cool. I mean, it adds a bit of like exclusivity, especially for clans that are trying to be like at the top. That's actually pretty interesting. I like that idea. I think it makes for an interesting kind of competitive environment too. I think there's a couple other things that I wanted to mention to see your opinion on them, if you have an opinion on them. I know, thinking back to the beta, some of the biggest question marks were audio. I didn't know if you saw a lot of audio changes, how audio was kind of buggy in the alpha and the beta. It didn't seem too strong. I had seen a couple people's reaction to the audio, but I didn't know if you had a chance to have a reaction to that.
I don't want to just sing praises for the game, but so far I have nothing to complain about with the audio. It's clearly been reworked like they said it has. Directional audio has been good for me. They fixed a ton of bugs when it comes to the audio. Like, apparently one of the bugs that really had me mind boggled was that when somebody would shoot their gun, it would make noise on the first and second bullet, and then after that it would just go completely silent. And that was like that used to throw me off in the beta so bad. They have fixed the audio in a big way, in my opinion, but also nobody's unlocked Ninja yet, really. So I haven't gotten to see like how quiet that pitter patter is.
Yeah.
You can hear footsteps though, but they're also not like obnoxiously loud. One other thing to mention with that is that we also have Ninja and Dead Silence now. You can have both. And when you use Dead Silence, it's a field upgrade and it recharges quickly. Like, I was getting it every life in a game earlier, pretty much. And it resets on kills just like it did before. But now you have not only silent footsteps, but you have Ghost. You're immune to UAVs and stuff with it.
Dead Silence?
Yes.
Interesting.
So you could run Ninja, or you could not run Ninja, or you could run Ghost, or you could not run Ghost, and then you could also have Dead Silence as your field upgrade. And the quickness with which it recharges is what is making me bring it up, because I didn't really use it in the beta, but now, like, it's pretty, I mean, that's valuable to just turn on Ghost.
Yeah.
Like, when you're really on a flank route, you're on like a 7 kill streak or something, you get silent footsteps, you get a throwing knife or something too, and you can just keep it going. You can keep your momentum going. I think the directional audio is really good though.
Good. Yeah, that was the reaction. Yeah, that was the reaction I saw. I think Exclusive Ace was the person I saw tweet about it, saying the audio felt way better. And he's not somebody that usually just sings praises about a game because it's a new game. But and then the other big question mark was the sun. I think it was you that tweeted the sun has been nerfed greatly or something like that.
It's been nerfed on all the maps. They even mentioned that themselves in one of the blog posts, I think, while you were on your vacation.
Yeah.
I hope you had a good one, by the way. But
great.
Yeah, they fixed that for sure. I remember I checked it on pretty much every map. The one that I really checked it on was Gavutu, because it was the worst. The map with the boat in the middle.
Yep.
Never noticed it. Never noticed the sun. Didn't bother me a bit.
Yeah, that's a big win, and I'm glad they've been kind of watching. So overall, pretty positive reaction then from everything that I'm hearing. I'm sure you'll have more information and more to talk about our next episode after you've put in a ridiculous amount of hours between, within this next week on the game, especially as it drops onto PC and we can all kind of grind it on PC. And if you guys have reactions or comments or thoughts on the game, feel free to offer them up in the chat of our live streams. If you guys didn't know, we are live streaming on YouTube every single week, which is then immediately uploaded onto YouTube as a VOD format, and then as quickly as we can uploaded onto our podcasting platform. So if you want to check out our live and moderated community on YouTube, come check it out, youtube.com/c/ModernWarzone Weekly. We'll pull up our link for the channel. So anyways, and of course, Twitter Spaces. We host those Twitter Spaces every single week, and we know we have a lot of Twitter Space family over there as well. So, okay, we've hit Vanguard. We've hit the new map. Doug, I think we've got to talk about Warzone. I mean, it is technically in the namesake, and there's been some interesting bugs in Warzone recently. I don't know how many of those have been fixed yet, or which ones haven't. I was watching some crazy stuff happen last night where there was like people floating. There was like 1,001 contracts. There was like all kinds of crazy stuff last night, and I don't know what kicked that off.
Yeah, the contract thing is a bug. They've said that they're looking into that and fixing it. Ground loot also got bugged to where there was barely. I'm just going off of what I read. I wasn't able to play Warzone last night.
Right.
Obviously playing Vanguard, but there was a ton of stuff that just kind of happened out of nowhere. And even Raven tweeted right before we started. They tweeted a picture, or not a picture. They used the emojis to basically show a red door falling out of the sky, and that's happening at the end of games now. Red doors are falling out of the sky and landing on the ground and exploding.
What?
Like what is happening? Not only just that, but there's new bunkers too.
That's okay. So in the new bunkers, can you get into the new bunkers or no?
I believe so. I mean, I don't know. I haven't been on, but based on the picture that True Game here, I know I tweeted about it and I quote tweeted True Game Data, but there's a picture of one of those bunkers. It should have been right next to one of the ones you had pulled up from earlier.
I'll scroll back through and find it. But yeah, no, I know. It was like all hell broke loose. And the fact that red doors are falling out of the sky is one of the weirdest things in the world. I mean, that's happening. That's not in the in-game credits. That's like in-game, right?
Yeah, it's happening.
That's bizarre. That's so
yeah,
wild.
I've only seen a few clips of it, and apparently the entirety of the end game is just chaos right now. I've also seen a floating dummy-looking guy with like a store thing. I don't know. He looks creepy, man. I don't even know how to describe what that one is. They didn't mention it when they mentioned everything else that they were going to be fixing from tonight's update, so I can only assume it's intentional. Looking at the picture from TGD right now, and the bunker doesn't appear to be open, but it's there. It has gates in front of it. It almost looks like the bunkers at the mines and stuff. Another thing I saw True Game Data tweet earlier about Warzone is that the mines have loot in them now. Like you can actually see the loot. You can hear the loot.
Oh, interesting. I'd be curious to know, maybe these bunkers that I'm showing on screen in the mines will be like the event to leave Verdansk kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like it could be the case where they're like prepping us for the end of Verdansk and like we travel through the bunkers to get to the new map or something like that. Like I don't know exactly how to work, but time travel's weird and this game's lore is super bizarre. So that could be the way they're kind of prepping it, is they're opening up these new areas. They're not opening them up yet, but showing them, and the loot in the mines bunkers is like on the way to the new map. I don't know how it'll work, but
I'll say something that is synonymous with every single big Warzone event that's happened or new map change or anything. They always are talking about what's underneath Verdansk. Like there's always this illustriousness about what's going on underneath Verdansk in every single thing. So I do agree with that, and I do remember there was like a big running theory back in the day that when the nuke happened, you know, we would just play underground on like this underground area of Verdansk for a while. I mean, that was pretty out there theory, but it was going around.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. I'll be curious to see. But let's also talk about Warzone and the upcoming weeks ahead of us. Again, we're not getting a Vanguard implementation until December 3rd, so we still have basically 4 weeks of content ahead of us.
If you earn Vanguard December 2nd, one day early if you earn Vanguard.
Which I think a lot of us do at this point. But I'm going to show this map on screen. We're going to kind of talk through it, not map, but kind of the roadmap of the next 4 weeks. So we've got week of November 4th, week of November 11th, week of November 18th, and then week of November 24th before we get into the implementation of Vanguard. And you can even see, we'll talk about November 30th. It looks like the last hours of Verdansk is maybe an event, it seems like. It says these limited time modes and their rewards are exclusive one-off modes that won't be available again in the future. So we'll talk about that in just a second, but let's start with this week, week of November 4th, starting today, technically. We've got solos, we've got duos, we've got trios, and we've got quads. It does look like the weekend exclusive modes will replace some of those modes, and the weekend exclusive modes that's coming up is buyback solos and buyback quads, which we haven't seen in a little while. Excited to have both of those back, and both of those back at the same time. You've got Clash 50v50 coming back, you've got Blood Money quads, and then you've got Rebirth Island duos and trios. For some reason, Rebirth Island quads is gone, but I'm not sure why. I know everybody's excited about buybacks, though.
Yeah, 2 things to note here. Just looking at the little, I don't even know, earmarks they have at the bottom. Number 1, Battle Royale solos, duos, trios, and quads. It says number 1, Iron Trials 84 will exceptionally replace Battle Royale duos for the day on November 4th.
Which is today.
Yeah, so we're getting an Iron Trials duo. I guess there's just no regular duos for today. I mean, that's kind of a weird way to put it. There's Clash 50v50 and there's no normal plunder. It's only blood money. The real thing I've seen people upset with on the timeline, or I guess they're not upset on the timeline, they're upset at me, telling me why do I keep doing this to them. But there is no resurgence quads, which is sad. I know that people get upset when that mode is gone. Trios is just a handhold fest. Really, it's just that people are starting to really figure out how you have to play to win on that map, and most of the people who aren't going for 20 kill games, which is not, that's a very small percentage of the people that play this game, everyone, they all hold hands because it's the only way they can win. Can't really blame them. But I think that that's kind of because this weekend we're getting that weekend exclusive buyback solos and quads in regular Verdansk. So they're kind of like, you know, you guys want buybacks, well,
Yeah,
you ain't getting both of them.
I wonder
Not today.
So I don't know if this is the case, and this is complete, like, not even tinfoil hat, just kind of guesswork. I wonder if they are trying to gain metrics on their limited time modes.
I do believe so.
Like it would make sense. Like, they're trying to get people to play the limited time modes of like buybacks, and they're trying to pump those numbers up for whatever reason. I can't be like an investor reason,
I think
but
that
it's like
having people play on the weekend is also very important for some reason to their analytics. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's people's free time most of the time, not just like getting on for an hour after work or something. But if you can, because they always do double weapon XP, double this, double that these days. Like we get more double XP thrown at us than we've ever gotten in COD history.
Well, I bet the amount of people playing video games is quadruple on the weekends than it is during the week, and so they want when people are playing video games the most on their game. That would probably make a lot of sense. But regardless, that's the week of November 4th, so a bit of an interesting week. Looks like week of November 11th, which is next week. We've got Battle Royale, Trios, and Quads, and Iron Trials is back for solos and duos at the same time. This will replace normal solos and duos for normal Battle Royale. We'll have Kingslayer Trios back. We'll have Plunder Quads. And then we will have Mini Royale Trios on Rebirth Island for some apparent reason. And Resurgence Quads will be back on Rebirth Island, which is great. Nothing really to write home about there besides Iron Trials being back for solos and duos. I know a lot of people like solos and duos Iron Trials. Week of November 18th, we've got Battle Royale, solo, duos, and trios.
Did you see? I don't mean to interrupt you. Did you see this little earmark on the Iron Trials 84 thing on week of November 11th? It's number 3. It says, Iron Trials 84 availability is subject to change based on the World Series of Warzone schedule.
Oh, I wonder.
You know more about stuff like that than me. What does that mean?
It could be the case where they might need to disable it while they're running World Series of Warzone. There's a chance maybe World Series of Warzone is running Iron Trials and they're trying to like run it via a whitelist or something, and they might have to disable it for that reason. I think they had some issues with World Series of Warzone last time because of whitelisting. So
isn't it quads?
Yeah, I don't know exactly why that would be the case, but that's an interesting little watermarker side note there, footnote, I guess is what it's called. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what that means, to be honest with you. That's the only thing I can guess, though.
I've never seen them have this many, like, you know, footnotes, like this might change, this is different, you know. Usually there's like maybe one, but
yeah, no, I mean,
that was interesting.
No, it is interesting, and this next footnote is super interesting because on the week of November 18th, Battle Royale solo, duos, and trios is watermarked as the 4, which is the limited time event Secrets of the Pacific will be available for all Battle Royale squad sizes. So I don't know what that is.
That's surprising to me. We talked about that while you were gone. And we basically assumed because the other event is Operation Flashback, where we're going to be seeing the old POIs and stuff. And then the final one is Last Hours of Verdansk. But this one is just basically supposed to be to inform us about Caldera. Like we're supposed to learn about his secrets and stuff.
Right.
And it was kind of described as if it was like one of those you do the challenges type thing, you know?
Well,
like you get these challenges.
That makes a ton of sense. That's probably the mines.
Yeah, but if you look at the way they're describing it, the limited time event Secrets of the Pacific will be available for all Battle Royale squads. All of those different events that I'm talking about where we had to do challenges to unlock things, it wasn't a specific game mode. You just played Warzone or you played Cold War and you completed the challenges.
Well, that's what this is saying, though. Look at this. This is flagged on all Battle Royale game modes, solos, duos, and trios. So that's going to be the case. That's
what I'm saying. That's the different thing, though. Like, oh, yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
You see what I'm saying? Like
Will
this
be
is for
available
all
for
game
all
modes.
battle royale squad sizes.
Yeah, it's not a
I don't
it's
know,
not
I
a
guess the wording there tripping me out.
yeah, it's not a it's a limited time event, not a limited time game mode. So it's going this event in game will be available in solos, duos, and trios normal battle royale, where you can go and do these challenges in game. So this will be similar to what we've seen in the past, is my guess. And
Yeah.
something that you'll do in every single game, or can do in every single game, which is, I'm going to assume, those bunkers and the mines up at the top of the map. That would make a ton of sense to me, as that's where you would do at least part of the challenges. So that's going to be available in solos, duos, and trios. Quads is specifically going to be a limited time exclusive one-off game mode called Operation Flashback, which is going back and looking at all the old POS, right?
So why do they have it listed like that? Because number 4 says that it's available to all squad sizes, so solos, duos, trios, and quads. I guess it's just not to confuse it with Operation Flashback being quads only.
Yeah, sure. It might be the case where you're not able to play quads and do the challenges, because it looks like quads specifically is going to be Operation Flashback, and quads won't even be available normally, based on the way this roadmap is written.
Yeah, the number 4 thing just throws that off. But you're right. Let's not get caught up on it. We'll find out soon enough.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Blood Money Trios, Armored Royale is back. Quads, Rebirth Island Quads is still there for Resurgence. And then the week of November 24th, we're still going to have Secrets of the Pacific active. So you'll have 2 weeks to complete those events. Solos, duos, trios, and quads this time. And it looks like Operation Flashback is also quads, so it'll be like doubled up quads playlist this time. Last week it was not that case. I think the incentive here, based on these 2 weeks compared, is that the quads playlist is going to be removed from the week of November 18th, so that you go and play Operation Flashback, is my guess. And then week of November 24th, they bring back quads, but you can still play Flashback if you haven't had a chance to play it. That's the way I'm reading this.
I'm also kind of getting the feeling that you can complete the challenges for the Secrets of the Pacific while you're playing Operation Flashback.
Yeah, that could be the case. I have no idea. Operation Flashback is, like I said, quads in week of November 24th. Plunder Trios, Payload, Port, and Promenade is going to be happening again. You remember playing Payload as an interesting game mode. And then Rebirth Island, Resurgence Quads is back. So for some reason, it looks like Resurgence Quads is just removed on this week. It's here the rest of these 3 weeks before Caldera. And I think the idea there is, hey, go play buyback quads instead. And then November 30th, this is what we mentioned at the beginning, last hours of Verdansk. This is another limited time game mode that are exclusive, one-off game modes that won't be available again in the future. This is the same as Operation Flashback. This will probably be the event, essentially, that leads us into Caldera.
Yeah, this will kind of take over Twitch and YouTube and everything else for that day. It's gonna. I think they've already told us that it's basically a 2-day event, the same way that the I forget what the exact title, the end of Verdansk, the destruction of Verdansk was last time.
Right.
It was 2 days, and throughout the 2 days, there was stuff happening that it was really well done in certain ways and really badly done in others. But it was really cool how you just didn't know what was going to happen, and then you were stuck going to Rebirth Island. But on Rebirth Island, you're like learning stuff. There's Easter eggs happening, and you don't even have to be like a genius to solve these things. They're kind of putting it right in front of you for you to figure out. I thought that stuff was really, really cool. I'm really, really, really looking forward to the multiple all-nighters I will be pulling for that.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. I'm excited about it as well. And a couple of other updates for the Warzone side. This is some bug fixes that we'll read in a second, but something that's new to Sledgehammer, or I guess Raven Software, is a new Warzone specific Trello board. You can see this in the notes. I've got it pulled up right now. They have a specific Trello board for people to track, hey, what are some of the issues that have been resolved? What are some of the issues that haven't been resolved? Adding cards, global issues, like there's all kinds of cool information here. Again, they're trying to push specifically transparency for their bug fixes, as well as updates and all of that good stuff.
Yeah, that's absolutely great. They previously shared a board with Treyarch, and it was just always weird because you were supposed to go to the Treyarch board to find when Raven posted it. Just look, you're already asking people who can't be asked to do anything to go pull up a new app, maybe download Trello if they want to look at this stuff, or pull it up on their, you can't be asked. So if people want to keep up with Warzone, it's great that they separated it, because Warzone is everything kind of revolves around Warzone these days.
Yeah, there's some really cool stuff on here. I've got it linked showing this is the official Trello board here. And then some of the things that they noted on there that you can find is a link to patch notes, playlist updates, schedules for limited time events, modes. If you're not going to read through all these notes, it'll be on the Trello board. Double XP weekends are on the Trello boards and more. Top tracked live issues in Warzone and a history of past playlist events and resolved issues. So pretty cool. If you want more information on Warzone and everything that's going on in Warzone, that's the place to go to. We'll have the Trello board linked in the description below as well. Bug fixes, some of these are pretty basic, not that big of a deal. Of course, we have to mention this one right here. Fixed an issue causing the ghost perk to not work correctly. Now, that certainly deserves a round of applause, but the question of the hour, does this also apply to private matches?
Absolutely.
I hope
because
it does.
they already, when they the first thing they said was that they noticed that they weren't working in private matches. Then they expanded it and said private and public matches. Yeah, they definitely. I can't attest to whether or not it's fixed myself. What I can attest to is that this has been a problem for quite a while, and I kind of feel bad that I didn't really like hone in on it. I guess I don't take Warzone as seriously as all these comp people, but apparently this has been known for a long time that this randomly happens. And it recently just kind of got pushed to the forefront, and they immediately responded. I guess that's what it takes sometimes, man. I really want some attention on these private games. Hopefully it really is fixed, because, I mean, I know we all hate when we die to someone with Ghost, but if you're actually playing comp Warzone and you're in a tournament, you cannot be running a useless perk. And as a matter of fact, the way you play the game with Ghost can actually get you into situations that you have zero chance to win because the enemy has information that you don't think they're supposed to have. It's very, very the opposite of what competitive needs. And it's cost people tournaments before, so I really do hope it's fixed in privates at least.
I think it will be, like you said. I'm assuming it's going to be fixed in both areas, and we can double check that and get some information back on that. If you have information on whether or not that's the case, definitely let us know in the comments.
I think we would have seen people mentioning already that it's still broken.
Yeah, I agree. But no, it's a really big deal, and I think the productivity of the amount of tournaments that have happened and the amount of money that's being poured into the tournament scene, like they're like, okay, we gotta fix this. Like, of course, we can't give them a caster mode yet because, you know, we don't want to, or we can't yet until the new game. But at the very least, let's have the private matches work as intended, to a higher degree than they currently are, because the game is completely broken in the private match scene if Ghost Perk isn't working perfectly. Even inconsistency of working for Ghost Perk completely throws off the way people play. So I'm really happy to see this fixed. The other ones are all pretty basic. There's not anything in here that I think is super worth noting. You know, some weird like ways people can get kicked or like start the matches dead, or some of the blueprint issues. But other than that, it all seems to be pretty basic stuff.
Yep. Nothing too important in there. Really, the shocker of the patch is, I mean, everybody's... Well, I guess Vanguard's not supposed to be out until tonight at midnight. Like what? How many hours from now? Like we're talking like 7 hours from now.
Yeah, exactly.
In the U.S. So I mean, not that many people are super duper focused on it, but they came out with this, and I'm just shocked at all the crazy shit that's happening in Warzone right now. There's freaking red doors flying from the sky, and this intentional, and none of that is mentioned in the patch notes, which I don't mind. I'm gonna be real. I don't mind. Don't tell me about shit like that. I want to see the internet. I want to see the internet think that it's broken first, and then start to realize, like, yo, this has to be intentional, bro. I wonder how we could play around this, dude. Like, I want to see stuff like that. Like, I thought it was pretty cool when I saw that they were doing like the Pacific map stuff, like where you went through the red door. But then I saw the red doors falling from the sky, and I was like, bro, what is happening?
Yeah, it's pretty wild out there. But I mean, at Verdansk is essentially falling apart at this point and exploding and doing unspeakable things until we've completely done away with it, which to some degree will be sad for some of us, but for the most part, everybody's gonna be excited about the new map, and I'm definitely excited about the new map. I think you guys talked about this last episode, or I guess we didn't record that episode, but we talked about it on the Twitter space, and I believe we talked about it even last episode. I've got the kind of the not even really roadmap, but sort of roadmap for season 1 pulled up of Vanguard, and like you said, December 2nd is when you can play the new Warzone map if you have bought Vanguard. Vanguard's owners get 24-hour exclusive access to the new Warzone Pacific map. But also it has been confirmed 100% we will still maintain our hold on Rebirth Island, which will be super helpful and exciting for a lot of people that grind Rebirth. And you can see Vanguard Royale is a specific mode that is specific for Vanguard weapons, etc., as well as the new combat vehicles, which are the planes. So this is the little map. It shows it on screen right now.
Shipment November 17th, everybody. Shipment will be here before season 1. Shipment will keep us handy, and that's actually something cool that I learned today in Charlie Intel's Twitter space. He had the multiplayer creative director for Sledgehammer Games, which I apologize for not exactly remembering your name right now, sir. But he asked him some interesting questions, and he asked him about shipment, and they just started talking about it for a second. And he asked if we were going to have 12v12 or like larger options for it, and he said 10v10 was too much. So the max number of players on shipment is 8v8 in blitz pacing, and then you have assault pacing is 7v7, and then tactical is 6v6. So those are the playlists that we're going to get for shipment. I don't mind 8v8's. I mean, freaking chaos on there.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a ton of people, so I'm not worried about that at all. But yeah, so here's kind of your roadmap for season 1 and Vanguard launch for the next month. Next month is going to be really interesting. I saw some people in the timeline tweeting about, hey, what are we going to do if we're Warzone specific content creators? We basically have to wait a month. You guys get I think it was Alucci that tweeted this. So like, hey, Warzone creators, are you dabbling in multiplayer for the next month? Are you laying low for the next month? What are you guys doing? And there's a kind of a modicum of different responses. But it's going to be an interesting month. There's going to be some weird stuff happening in Warzone, and then a lot of people that don't traditionally grind multiplayer are going to be grinding multiplayer probably for leveling guns and getting the right skins for all their YouTube videos and all that good stuff. So it's going to be some chaos over the next month, but I'm excited about it. Call of Duty is getting exciting again, finally.
I mean, what's your thought process though? I think that if you're not playing Vanguard right now, like I don't know why you wouldn't be. Seriously, what's going on in Warzone right now that you absolutely need to be grinding it? Unless you're playing in a bunch of competitive tournaments coming up soon. Of course, stay there.
Right.
Stay used to what you're used to. If you're not, why are you not on Vanguard leveling your guns, getting ready for the inevitable change to an entirely new meta, an entirely new map, and an entirely new, it's not entirely new, but a new engine. They've already said all the tech is coming over. I mean, I truly don't understand people who have the opportunity to play Vanguard and that they actually, take Call of Duty seriously and aren't doing it right now. Sometimes if you don't move with the rest of the pack, you will be left behind.
Yeah, to some degree, certainly. I would say I would expect to see a lot of larger Warzone content creators play Vanguard for like half the day and then head to Warzone for half the day, or vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
That's usually what a lot of people will do, especially if they have another game interest, whether it's within Call of Duty or not. And I think it makes a lot of sense, especially with all the limited time modes and stuff that are coming up. You're going to see a lot of people playing both every single day, which I think is the right call. Now, in terms of YouTube videos, I don't know what's the best call, to be honest, for those specific people. It depends on their audiences and what their audiences want to see. I think you can make some speculative content, some more like talking content, speculating about what's happening, things that we're kind of doing on the podcast with the information that we've been given. That could go pretty well. And then, of course, I've seen like Drakota, for instance, talked about doing like a weapon mastery playlist, essentially talking about kind of showing his grind to camos and all of that good stuff, which I think could be valuable content as well. So it totally depends on what you want to do, but overall I think you should be playing Vanguard, and that's what Call of Duty wants you to play. And hint hint, wink wink, there's not going to be a lot of Warzone tournaments this month, if hardly any, especially sponsored by Activision, yet there's a lot of Vanguard tournaments this month. And
let's be real, like when we get a new COD, do we actually? Also, I got to shout out Number One Girl. Thank you for the host with 31 viewers over on the Twitch channel. Everybody, make sure to go pull up our YouTube. We are live on YouTube right now for the weekly podcast. Totally lost my train of thought right there, but I had to think her. What were you saying?
Basically, like playing Vanguard, like Activision's really pushing for people to play Vanguard, obviously, which is why we're not seeing a lot of Warzone events.
Yeah. And it's just like the content is laid out there right now for you. Okay. The way I would look at it as a creator, and listen, you can roast me all you want, because even last night, I recorded a ton of content and I have no videos on YouTube at the moment. I got too caught up in grinding the game, but at least I'm on the game. But at the same time, this is the first time in a Call of Duty game I can think about that we actually have multiple new mechanics that are actually meaningful to the gameplay loop. You can now move left and right while you're mounted. There's destructible environments everywhere. We have the most maps at launch in Call of Duty since Black Ops 2, I believe. It's the most launch maps in history for multiplayer. There is so much content to be made. There's so many jump spots. There's so many rotations, so many proper hardpoint pushes. Like, there is so much content to be made out there right now for this game. And if you think that like you're just gonna wait until Warzone Pacific rolls around with the Caldera map, and then you're gonna move over there and level your guns over there, I mean, you can do that. But I don't think that you're going to have a good time if you come into Vanguard a month late when the meta's set and everybody's cracked out of their mind at the game. Because I can already tell you, people are getting there. The movement's different. Slide canceling isn't exactly the same. There's a lot of the maps are way different. Like, if you're not good at 3-lane OG COD, map pushing and being able to trade, you're going to have trouble on this game.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Go get into the game, go get used to the movement. I know a lot of CDL players are going to be absolutely putting in the hours this month, getting ready for upcoming season, as well as playing in some of these off-season tournaments. So it's going to be a really cool month. I'm excited to see what happens. It's going to be a fun multiplayer month. We haven't had a multiplayer like highlight month in a very, very long time in terms of the general casual public. So this will be a fun one as well. I have to say that's kind of the end of our topics list, but out of nowhere, off the rip on the timeline, this is worth mentioning. We don't cover a lot of CDL content. Zuma, who has retired, become a very successful streamer, and has been going to a lot of different events, was actually at the live event last night. Just tweeted out 15 minutes ago, Zuma has joined a FaZe clan as a content creator, which is pretty dang hype for FaZe. I mean, Zuma is a huge personality to bring into the mix, and this is incredibly surprising with some of the big changes that have happened, but pretty exciting for him, I'm sure.
Honestly, after all these weeks of baiting from him and Gersh and everybody, whoever else is running the social medias, I'm glad that it's announced, and I'm so happy for him. He deserves it all. The dude is an absolute entertainer, like a diamond found in the rough.
Yep.
Out of all the CDL players I've seen besides Scump, dude has just got it. He's got something about him that draws people to him, and I think it's just the fact that he's genuine and he doesn't give a fuck what you think about his how genuine he is. But they've been baiting back and forth, acting like he's going to Optic or he's going to LA Thieves or he's doing this, he's doing that. It was always clear cut. FaZe Clan is moving forward at an astonishing rate with how much they're planning to dominate the Call of Duty scene in every facet. They have some of the best content creators. They have the best, and they are the Goliath to be taken down in the CDL right now.
Yep.
And now they have the best podcast all about Call of Duty comp, and they have one of the best entertainers that ever came out of Call of Duty comp. I really think that which I talked to Crowder recently. We played a game together. I actually think I'm going to get to go up to the Atlanta FaZe, the FaZe players area, and get to see that spot. I'm excited for them, man. They, freaking let's get into the personal stuff. Atlanta Braves just won a championship. All right, I've been a Braves fan my whole life. I'm a Georgia Bulldog fan. I am from Georgia. I live just outside of Atlanta. I'm not far. I am so happy for FaZe. I was pulling for Toronto Ultra because Toronto Ultra sent me stuff when they played in the CDL, so I felt like I had to support them.
Sure.
But it's dope that they got Zuma, and they have the money to they just went public as an IPO.
They're going to. I don't think they have yet, but they're planning on doing it. Yeah.
Can you imagine Zuma answering to shareholders?
Yeah. It'll be really interesting to see. I know that's a whole nother topic of conversation that probably without more research we can talk more about it later. But they did combine with a large company to then go public together, so it's a little bit more convoluted than just them going public. But anyways, all that to say, that's our podcast for the day. We talked about all the different topics we want to cover. Of course, Doug, you can shout out the Braves one more time. Where can people find you? Is there anything else lingering that you wanted to say before we end today's episode? This was a fun one, a little bit shorter than traditional, but actually kind of right on pace, a little bit over an hour. So again, thank you everybody for joining us in the Twitter space. But Doug, where can people find you? What are you working on? Anything exciting? I know you're kind of be grinding Vanguard for the next couple weeks.
I'm currently working on trying to get my first ever mastery camo in like a Call of Duty. I've never actually gotten the final one. The one in this game is called Atomic. Kind of looks like Damascus turned into orange sherbet and turned into an animated camo, kind of, or like a fruit roll up. I've seen that reference as well. I will be grinding for that. I will be trying to cover all the content I can, trying to finish the campaign right now. Then go and check out zombies. It's just going to be a crazy week for me. You can find me on Twitter at Dagnabbit. You can find me at Modern Warzone everywhere, modernwarzone.com. I'm trying to get some articles out on there, but I also just don't want to miss out on any of the content while it's fresh right now. My first and foremost job I know that I'd be more benefited by posting to YouTube and other places first, but I can't forget the people or the app and the audience that made me where I am today, and that is Twitter. And my job is first and foremost to get the news out to that audience first. So that is currently what I'm doing. I don't really have much else to say. I'll give like a little final thought on Vanguard real quick.
Sure, absolutely.
Absolutely think it's worth your money. Before, when the beta came out, I was called a shill because I thought it had I thought it was going to be great, and I still think I think it's great. I'm loving it. But I had a lot of skepticism about last gen consoles being able, like I basically said, don't buy it until they prove us wrong. And I can tell you, after playing on 2 old gen consoles, that they proved me wrong. On the PS4 Pro, I saw a couple of different issues with like textures like kind of popping in, you know, shaders and shadows acting funny, but it rarely ever happened. Whereas in the beta, it was terrible. And on top of that, I also wanted to mention and shout out the Sledgehammer game devs for how much passion and how well they've done at responding to all of the community's feedback. Another thing that was revealed in that talk with Charlie Intel today, from the creative director, was that everybody was freaking out about no Ninja and Dead Silence back as a field upgrade. Well, these guys knew that in the studio, and he said the reason it was still in beta is because they didn't have enough people in studio to make like that exact decision for the community about whether or not we wanted Ninja and Dead Silence or whether we wanted none or the other. So they went with it, and they had a plan in their back pocket the whole time that if the community did not like what they were putting out, they had Ninja ready. Like Ninja was a made perk. Low Profile was ready to be traded out for it. I thought that was really cool to learn about. And I also wanted to shout them out because I thought that there was no way in hell this game would work on last gen consoles after the beta. Destructible environments were pretty much the main issue. They made the game nearly unplayable. And there's been so much work and put in since that beta to the destructible environments, Gojj, that until you watch it or you play it yourself, you won't believe it. Because it for example, in the Hotel Royale map, it has 2 massive glass window panes in the middle that serve as like the primary, like if those lanes are open, you can see into each other's spawns almost. In the beta, I only had to shoot out 2 of these little like square glass panes for the whole thing to disappear. Now each pane is its own individual piece of glass. I shot out the whole bottom row, their top didn't fall. So like it's a whole lot more than I thought they were going to do to it, and I'm thankful for it. And that's awesome. The end of me. I really think that if you are into Call of Duty and you like Call of Duty at all, that you will love Call of Duty Vanguard, and I highly recommend going out and buying it.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm definitely already. I downloaded it. I've got it ready to rock and roll for the PC. Gaming tonight. So I'm gonna probably hop on either tonight or tomorrow and get some games in. But overall for me, Doug mentioned at the beginning, I just got word back that I won a Shoutcaster contest put on by Intel Inspires and AVGL, which was really cool. Second place, I got to give a huge shout out to Dandro. Dandro and I were excited to be 1 and 2 in that contest, both Warzone casters through and through. Of course, he's got a little bit more experience variety, but it was really fun, man. I got to say, I had a blast doing it, and it kind of gave me some more validation that I'm good at what I do, and I'm able to learn and cast over games that I've hardly ever played before by just putting in the work. I mean, for the second round, I had to cast over League of Legends, Valorant, Fortnite, and Rocket League, and I have hardly ever played Valorant or League of Legends. I obviously know how Rocket League and Fortnite work, and I've played them a little bit, but even comparatively, like just even to Warzone hours, it's not even close. I mean, on paper, I've casted more Warzone events than anybody, I think, at this point. I don't know if there's a single person out there that's casted as many of it, like pure events as I have on paper. But in terms of the other games, I am very, very, very new. So it was really cool to see all the work I put in to learn those games to then win the contest. It was awesome. So
super. What was the
hardest to cast?
I'm thinking League of Legends, bro. I'm thinking League of Legends.
So I think there's the most to learn for League of Legends, but League fits my casting style more evenly. So it actually wasn't that difficult once I got all the terminology down. I would say Valorant was the most different from my casting style, and you had to learn a ton. Because I like hardly ever played Valorant. There's so many agent names, there's so many abilities, and it's a much more slow-paced game that I'm not used to. I'm so used to being the like kind of fast-paced color commentary, bring in the hype, and with Valorant, you don't do that as often. So that was like the biggest kind of like weird piece to kind of
Yeah.
change, if that makes sense.
But you adapted well for sure. I mean, Valorant's like a CS:GO plus 40 abilities that you have to remember at all times and cooldowns and that. So I'm sure you did great, bro. I'm proud of you, man.
I appreciate
You're
that.
killing it.
I appreciate that. So excited about that. I've been grinding a lot of New World content as well. This has kind of been my passion project in the interim between Warzone, bringing back the hype, and Vanguard, etc. I'm not as big on the multiplayer scene. Of course, I'm going to play a lot of Vanguard, but it's just not one of my favorite things to do in the world. So once Caldera comes in and Vanguard gets implemented, I'm sure I'll be killing a ton of Warzone. But I've been cranking New World content. So I've been doing streams, and I've been putting out some really cool YouTube videos. I put together a 230-page lore document for New World. I put all the journal entries into a Google Doc, and I'm making New World lore content. So I'll be doing that as well on the side, but still doing a lot of casting. Excited about some tournaments coming up. So yeah, that's me, GrandmasterGojj, all major socials. You guys know where to find me. You guys know what I'm doing. Of course, I stream pretty much every single day on Twitch, as Doug also streams on Twitch, but we do the podcast live on YouTube, and excited about the future of the podcast as well. I think that's all we got. Thank you, Twitter Spaces. Thank you, YouTube, and thank you, Spotify, iTunes, etc., wherever you listen to podcasts. Thanks for supporting us. We're going to continue uploading weekly. And until next week, have a great week on Vanguard. We'd love to see you out there. Peace.
Woo! Peace.